Hey everybody, Alex Kisslinger here from Bucker Up Gear, and I'm here today to run you through how to set up your brand new Magne Drop arrow rest. Now that we have the Magne Drop out of the packaging, we're going to go ahead and take off that little rubber O-ring. That's just there to secure the bolt during transportation. The bolt we're going to be working with today is a 2018 Bowtech Realm. We're just going to screw in our 3/16 bolt into the rest mounting hole just tight enough so that it can hold the rest while we make some other adjustments. Like so. Now that we have the rest hard mounted onto the bow, we're going to go ahead and adjust center shot. Center shot is basically the center line of the bow. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be lining the rest up with the center of the grip. We recommend either going off your manufacturer's recommendation or the recommendation of your local pro shop as to where to set your center shot. So to start, we're going to loosen the two 7/64 screws in the bottom side of the launcher. You don't need to go much, just about a quarter turn. Like so, and like so. Next, we're going to take the bow and we're going to slide the launcher back and forth until we found our center shot. The easiest way to find center shot with the Magne Drop is to push it up into the ready position and line up your string with the center of the V in the rest. And like I said today, we're going to be lining that up with the center of our grip. So once I have that set, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten down those two screws. We're on to our next step. Now that we have our center shot set, we're going to go ahead and tighten down our main rest bolt. But before we do this, we're going to make one more small adjustment. We're going to try and slide the rest as far forward as possible while still maintaining the functionality of the jaws. The reason we do this is we want to try and get the pivot point of the arrow at full draw, which is the tip of our launcher, as close to vertically above the pivot point of the bow, which is our deepest part of the grip. The reason we do this is it will greatly decrease the effect of hand torque on the shot. This is the same reason that on older bows typically, who only had one rest mounting hole, the rest mounting hole was directly above the pivot point. So, to do this, we're going to loosen our mounting bolt just a little bit. We're going to slide it forward, and we're going to check it. Like I said, we want to not move it as far forward so that our shelf is touching our jaws here, but just far enough to maximize forgiveness. So it looks like we got it as far as we can go there, if we can see that. So I'm going to come back in here, I'm going to snug down our bolt. I'm not going to crank on it yet, I'm just going to snug it down. I'm going to take my 5/64, I'm going to turn in my set screw until I feel the riser. Right there. I'm going to back it out, I'm going to crank it down, like so. That's going to cut into the aluminum and make sure it's not going to slide anywhere. Then I'm going to go back to my main bolt and really crank her down. And that rest isn't going anywhere, and we can move on to our next step. Our next adjustment is going to be the overall elevation of the rest. The proper position is for the tip of the launcher to be just barely touching the shelf of the riser at rest. You can see there's a small gap there now, so we're going to flip the bow over and use our 9/64 Allen to loosen this screw just enough to slide it down, hold it in place, flip it over, and as we can see, it's just barely touching the shelf of the riser. Flip it back. I'm going to tighten down that bolt. I don't need to crank on it because there's a little washer under there that's doing most of the holding. Now that we have that set, we can move on. Our next step is going to be attaching the linkage cord. Today we're going to set the Magne Drop up in a cable-driven format. So I'm going to attach my linkage cord onto my downward moving cable. First, we're going to cut off the slight melt that comes on the cord from factory. Like so. And we're going to rough it up with our finger and take our lighter and melt it into a slight mushroom. Like so. That'll help prevent the rope from pulling through. Then, I'm going to take my bow, I'm going to tie a lark's head knot onto the downward moving cable. There are instructions on how to tie this knot in the packaging provided. Like so. I can tie that knot on this bow straight onto the cable because there's serving right above it. If your bow does not have serving on it, you can manually tie in a small piece and then tie the knot below that. Or, during the tying of the knot, you can thread the top half of the lark's head through the string. The only downside to this is that if you're twisting the cables at all during the tuning process to time the bow, the knot will also twist. So, I have that on the string and tied up against the serving. I'm now going to pull it tight. just like so. And we're all set. Two of the unique features that make the Magne drop so effective are its lack of a top containment bar and its micro-adjustable drop distance. A top containment bar is used on many modern drop-away arrow rests in order to contain the arrow both at rest and at full draw. The downside of the system, however, is that that top bar can actually contact your arrow in its fletchings during the shot cycle and also decrease the overall tunability of your bow and rest. The Magne drop achieves full capture using its patented arrow containment system. The micro-adjustable drop feature is utilized with this red thumb screw. The farther that thumb screw is turned out, the higher the launcher will raise. The more it's turned in, and the lower it will raise. For the sake of this video, I'm going to leave that setting right at factory spec, or in other words, our minimum recommended drop distance. Next, we're going to be setting the length of the linkage cord. First, we're going to pull the cord tight to take up any slack in between the actuator block and our knot. Next, we're going to tighten down our cord compression screw just tight enough so that when the cord is pulled through, the rest will rise, but the cord will continue to pass. Like so. This is one of the unique features on the Magne drop, and it's only possible because of our small compression sleeve there. Unlike other systems on the market, the screw is cutting into the compression sleeve instead of directly into the cord. So now that we have that screw tension set correctly, we're going to pull the slack through again and draw the bow. Now that we have the correct amount of cord pulled out, we're going to go ahead and snug down our cord compression screw. We don't want to tighten it down all the way, we just want to tighten it down enough so that when tension's applied, it doesn't pull through anymore. If tightened too far, it can actually cut through our cord compression sleeve and start cutting into the cord. Once your Magne drop is set up properly, shooting the correct spined arrow and tuned, as shown here, it is ready for tens of thousands of shots and a lifetime of use, which is why your Magne drop comes with an unconditional lifetime warranty.